Bend the knee! Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Don Woolley coming back at you again, and luckily it had stopped snowing long enough for me to do this video and not have to worry about putting on full winter gear. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about the Boltons, mainly Ramsey and Roose, but we're also going to be discussing Theon, Sansa Stark, Fat Walder Frey, and also this past episode of Game of Thrones, Season 5, Episode 6, Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken, how it's similar to the books, how it differs from the books, and, just my thoughts on the controversy surrounding the final scene of that episode, but more so talking about the history of the Bolton family, and also my thoughts on the two main protagonists or antagonists of this particular arc, those being Roose and Ramsey. So, to begin, let's talk about House Bolton. Now, these guys are descendants of the first men, like most Northmen are, with the exception of like the Manderleys. And they have traditions that go back years, before the Starks consolidated the North under their control. House Bolton was ruled by what were known as Red Kings, and, they've been flaying people alive as part of, I guess, family ritual, torture methods, etc., etc. And their house words are, "Our blades are sharp." And people know them throughout the Seven Kingdoms as people who are brutal in their methods of torture and also killing. Now, after the betrayal at the Red Wedding by Roose Bolton, they were granted wardenship of the North by the Lannisters, also Baratheons, since Tommen legally counts as a Baratheon. And since then, they are now the Great House of the North, where the Starks were the Great House of the North before. So, Roose Bolton is somebody who we don't have a large history on. We don't know who his father and mother were. I tried looking up as much about him as I possibly could and couldn't find much on his direct lineage. So, there's theories surrounding him, one being the bolt-on theory, and, a little tinfoil. But basically the theory states that he is I guess kind of an immortal vampire that's able to skin change. I don't know. But pretty much, the whole thing with Roose Bolton is he still kept alive certain traditions that were mainly banned in the North by the Starks. One of those being flaying, and also the right of the first night. For those of you who don't know what the right of the first night is, basically it's when the lord of a particular region claims the right to sleep with a man's wife on that man's wedding night before the actual husband does. And Roose has stated that he has done this, and the most famous time that he has done this, or at least not particularly with the first night, but that he has, has raped someone's wife, was the miller's wife, whom with he conceived Ramsey. Now, Ramsey was a Snow before because he was a bastard of Roose Bolton, and after consolidating the North under his control, he decided to legitimize Ramsey and make him a true son of Bolton and heir to Dreadfort and also Winterfell. So, Roose Bolton is somebody who was a trusted man of the Stark legions, and because he felt that the winds were swaying in an opposite direction, he decided to betray Robb Stark with the help of the Freys and the Lannisters, and he killed Robb Stark at what is known as the Red Wedding. After these events, unfortunately for him, he had a hard time going back to the north and getting through the remainder of the Northmen who were loyal to the Starks. But with the help of his son Ramsey Bolton, he was able to secure passage through the north through Moat Cailin and clear a path for his father to march straight to Winterfell. Now, Roose Bolton is a minor character in the books, and in the show, he was a minor character. And in fact, I'll be honest with you, for the longest, I didn't even really know who Roose Bolton was. When the Red Wedding happened, I was watching like everybody else was, and it didn't even register to me who he was when he actually stabbed Robb. To the second time I watched it, and I was like, "Oh wait, he's supposed to be. Oh, damn you! But that's neither here nor there. Let's go on to Ramsey. Now, Ramsey, like I said, is Roose Bolton's bastard son, and one way that he differs from the show, to the books is, in the books, Roose actually has another son named Domeric, which he believes Ramsey murdered. Ramsey knows about his mother because Ramsey was raised by his mother up until the age of, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15. In the books, Ramsey isn't that old. He's a teenager like the rest of the Stark kids and all that. And for some reason, for the past couple of years, just before the war, Roose has been letting him run roughshod all around the north, basically doing the kinds of things that you wouldn't expect a lord to let his son do. He kidnaps a smaller lord, forces her to marry him, rapes her, and then leaves her in a tower to starve to death. Now, for those of you who only watch the show, this is something that you're not privy to. If you've seen the episode where he basically is hunting down that young lady in the woods with his girlfriend Miranda, and he has the dogs and Reek in tow, that is in the book, but it's done in a different manner. Instead of Theon escaping with Ramsey, Theon escapes with that girl, not knowing that it's a trap. They both get caught. Ramsey gets tortured. The girl gets raped and murdered. And so for those of you who might have been horrified at what happened with the scene at the end of Unbound, Unbent, Unbroken, that is commonplace for Ramsey. Now, also where the show differs is Ramsey was the one who told Theon to kill the two boys and burn their bodies and basically pass them off as Bran and Rickon. Now, in the show, this is the idea of one of Theon's Ironborn men, and I don't know if it was because they weren't sure exactly what they were going to do with Ramsey yet, or if they just wanted to kind of make things seem like they were more Theon's idea than they actually were. The brutality that we see, a lot of it that's attributed to Theon in the show, really actually comes from Ramsey. And speaking of Theon, let's talk about the Reek Persona. Now, again, something that only happens in the books and not in the show is Theon is the second Reek. The first Reek had some condition that made him smell bad all the time. That's why Ramsey gave him the name Reek. And Ramsey actually, he played Roderick Cassell into thinking that Reek was him, and they wound up killing Reek, taking in Ramsey by mistake. Ramsey betrayed not only the Northmen, but also the Ironborn and Theon as well. He goes on to torture him, and unlike the show, in the books we don't see the actual torture. The next time that we see Theon, he is Reek, and he is such a broken man that in his mind he keeps on reminding himself that I'm Reek. No matter what, I can't think that I'm Theon Greyjoy. If I think that I'm Theon Greyjoy, Ramsey is going to hurt me again. He's going to kill me, whatever. And another big difference from the book to the show is who Ramsey marries. Now, in the book, he marries a friend of Sansa Stark named Jane Poole. And that friend is passed off by the Lannisters as Arya Stark. At this point, most people in the North do not know what Arya Stark actually looks like. The only person who can actually confirm her identity is Reek, and Reek is too afraid to say anything because he's thinking to himself, if I say something, not only will they kill her, but they'll kill me too. So, now, when it comes to that wedding night scene, I actually thought it was going to be a lot more brutal. Because, again, in the book, as opposed to the show, Theon, Reek, is actually asked, no, he is commanded to engage in intercourse with Ramsey's wife in the best way that he possibly can to get her ready for him. Jane Poole, aka Arya, is brutally raped and beaten. Reek is forced to not only watch but participate. There were many complaints that the show took it too far by showing what happened to Sansa Stark. But if you actually go back and look, they didn't show what happened to Sansa Stark. You know, the most that you got is the screams and the look on Ramsey's face. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, what happened wasn't a horrible thing, but it's not even the worst thing that happened on the show. I mean, think about it. They stabbed a pregnant woman. They killed a whole host of people at a wedding. You had a boy who was supposed to be like maybe 15 or 16 choked to death. Daenerys gets raped in, was it episode 1 or episode 2 by Khal Drogo. I mean, I don't know what else I could possibly say. I don't understand how people were so outraged by this particular episode. It's like, oh my god, dude, they just took this one too far. I mean, Jaime and Cersei have sex in the damn sept next to Joffrey's body. Now, the way that they edited it, it looked like he raped her. Even though the editors, I mean, not the editors, but the show creators were saying that's not actually how it was supposed to be, but that's how it came off to most people. But all right, so let's get back to the Boltons. Now, where Fat Walder Frey fits into this picture is after the Red Wedding, as part of the alliance between the Boltons and the Freys, Walder Frey said, "Look, take one of my daughters, and I will give you their weight in silver." So, hey, it's like, okay, fine. I will take that one there. And that is how we get Fat Walter in the picture. And supposedly she is with child, even in the books. And Roose Bolton is pretty much thinking to himself that Ramsey is going to kill this kid because Ramsey wants to be the only one. He doesn't want there to be any doubt as to who is going to be the heir to the Bolton dynasty. As crazy of a character as Ramsey is, we actually need him for the show to push Sansa's storyline forward. Now, I've said before that I think Sansa is going to play the Lady Stoneheart role, and I think in order to get her there, that she unfortunately needs some of these very tragic events to happen to her. I mean, I guess we'll see in a couple episodes whether I was right or not. But overall, I think all this controversy and hype is much ado about nothing. And I think if people actually took the time to study the series and what's been going on with it, they would see that this is commonplace. And again, I'm actually surprised at the amount of fanfare and outrage that has been sparked around the internet because of this. Again, I'm not saying that somehow, yes, this all deserved to happen. No, I mean, I'm like most people at this particular point, or just in general, you want the good guys to win, you want the bad guys to get their due. But I just think that, it's going to take a lot longer for the bad guys to actually get their due. The Boltons are interesting characters. The relationship between Roose and Ramsey is one that is very emblematic of the rest of the story and how things have played out. And at the end of the day, we're not sure exactly where they stand with each other. We'll just have to see how things work out. Again, I'm pretty sure that these two are not going to make it out of the story alive. And, whether or not Walda is going to make it as well. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure by the end of this story, House Bolton will probably no longer exist. And, everybody will get to clap and say how brilliant it was that they got their comeuppance after doing all these horrible things. But, in the meantime, we got to deal with it how we deal with it, right? They are crazy, but we need them in the story just to see how far down the rabbit hole things can actually go. And look, I look forward to seeing how things play out. I think people need to calm down and not make so much about what's happening in the show with regards to the brutality, because even if you look at medieval history and some of the atrocities that were done between the lords to other lords, to the small folk, to other kingdoms, this is pretty standard stuff. This is not something that you're not going to find in any other medium. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I got on, on these guys. I know this one is a little bit longer than usual, but, I had some things that I really had to address here This was originally just supposed to be about Roose, but after Sunday's episode and all of the controversy and hype surrounding it, I felt like it was kind of my calling to expand this and just touch more on the entire subject of the Bolton family and their relationship at large. So, you already know the drill. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, come back for more. Leave me suggestions. I got a couple more of these profile videos that I'm doing for right now, and then I'm actually going to move on to some of the organizations that exist throughout this story. Anyway, that's been my time. Don Willie, I'm out.